Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. Today I'm gonna draft the foundation garment from the Practical Designer for Women's and Mrs. Underwear. So we're gonna be working on our corset cover after this, but before that we have to draft the foundation garment. Again, I'm gonna be drafting in Valentina, a free program that you can get online. This book is also online, available on archive.org, and I will post a link in the comments. This book has problems. It's not an easy book to get through. The instructions are not great or that accurate, it seems, but you'll see. You'll see when we get there. So let's just get in on this too far. Here's our beginnings of our foundation garment here, and I have the instructions pulled up on my ebook, which is what I will be reading from. So let's go ahead and start a new garment. We will call it the Practical Designer Foundation Garment. Can't type today. Okay, so we need to load in our measurements. I have already prepared the measurements in tape here. So I've just used the standard measurements that they gave here and here. I've entered all of these in to tape, and I've also added, in addition, I've also added one for the size, so this right here, and you'll see why once we get into drafting, but go ahead and put that into your tape. I have made one for each size so that I can grade, and that's all just their standard measurements that are given there. So we'll go ahead and add those. For size 36 is what they say we're drafting off of here. For the sample garment, we're going to square down from A to R to begin, and A to C. A to C is our natural waist, so I'll do that one first. Nape to waist. Okay, which gives us point C and is 15.5 inches. A to B in the middle is 7 inches, or our back depth. So let's put that point on the line. What am I looking for? Nape to waist. I'm going blind apparently. Is the back depth, so 7 inches. Let me pull this open more. Side depth, there it is. Okay. And that's point B. We'll square up across to point R. We don't know how long that's going to be, so we will just put in some arbitrary number here. We can always change it later. That's point R. And then we need to square across from B and C. And I'm going to link that to the line that we made before. So I'm going to make this line the same as line A to R. That way, if I ever need to change A to R, it will change my other guidelines as well, automatically. Okay, so we have our first guidelines. Draw a line across from B to W and C to X. After those lines are crossed, measure from A to D, B to E, and C to F, 1/3 of size, or 12 inches for a size 36. So 1/3 of the size, we do size divided by 3. Okay. And that top one is point D. Once again, size divided by 3. Point, is that E? Yeah. And there's F. We come down to our line tools to join those points. There we go. To produce the width of back, take half of B to E, which makes G. So our center point tool, take half of B to E and call it point G. And allow from G to H 1 and I think it's 1/4 inches. Not a very good scan of the book here, so it's hard to read. Looks like 1 1/4 inches towards E, so we'll do that. 1.25 for H. Looks pretty close. And then measure the space between B and H and place the same amount from A to I. So we want a point here from A to D that is the same as the line from B to H. Which is not here on our list, so what we can do is we can join these 2 points, H and B, and now it will be. So again, pull that tool there, length of lines, H to B, and that is point I. Now begin the back neck. From A to J, measure 1/6 of size, or 3 inches for size 36. Now you're going to notice 1/6 of 36 is not 3 inches. 1/6 of 36 is 36 inches. I'm thinking when it says this, and it says it 4 or 5 more times in these instructions, I think it's referring to 1/6 of the half measurement. We're making a back piece here and a front piece here, and we need 2 backs and 2 fronts to make 1 complete garment. So I'm thinking it's getting its 3 inches by taking 1/6 of half of the size. So I could be right, I could be wrong. Something is wrong in this book. But if we want 3 inches, we have to take our size and divide by 12 instead of 6. Which puts the point exactly where it looks over here. So I think that's correct. Okay, from J to K, raise up 1 inch, so we'll just square that up. 1 inch for point K. And draw a line out against I to L. Against I to L. In producing the back shoulder, draw a line from K against I to L. This space shall be 6 inches for size 36, but in order that the space or width of shoulder shall come out naturally without memorizing the width of shoulder for each and every size, a square ruler shall be applied to the line from K to L to meet H, and will prove or bring out the original width of the shoulder for every size systematically. So what that's saying is, if you have a square ruler, you can put it on the paper touching I, K, and H here, and it will give you this square point of L. Of course, I can't throw a square ruler on this computer to draft here. So we do have a tool for that. Perpendicular point along line, special point on shoulder. I can't remember. I had it last night. Let's try this one. Select the base point. select the first point of line, select the second point of line, and voila! So that's the perpendicular point along line tool. Select your base point, 2 of the points on the line, and it will give you a measurement from there, which in this case is square. So we call that point L. Now we need to join those other points to make a line. So let's join L and I. Come on now. And let's join I and K. We also need a line from I to H while we're here. So that looks good. Now make the incline for the center back. That's over here. Make from C to M 2 inches. C to M. Two inches. And draw a line from M up to A. Remember that the space between C to M is always 2 inches for all women's sizes. Or for all women's sizes in the 1890s. So I'm also going to join these 2 lines here so we can get a point in the middle. Which is the one right here. Before going any further, remember the name of each cross line made at A, B, and C, blah, 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 a little bit of review, and that is the end of the first lesson. Go ahead and save right here. Practical Designer. So that is, of course, the end of the first lesson in this book, but it is not the end of the foundation garment draft. So we continue on to part 2. Here we are, lesson 401. Of the Rosenfeld system. To begin this lesson, we need to remember the entire foundation of the first lesson. Okay, we remember it. Now, therefore, prepare the entire first lesson and continue as follows. From E to N and from D to O is 1/6 of size, or 30 inches. So 1/12 of size again. And what numbers were those? From E to N, E to N. Size divided by 12. Get this point N. And from D to O, go ahead and join those now before I forget. When making this step, it shall be remembered that we are preparing the outline for the front part. That just means that this half is the front part, this half is the back part. Now measure from O to P. Where do we put P? We haven't done P yet. Now measure from O to P and from P to Q, also 1/6 of size. O to P, size, it's not right. And also from P to Q, so going up this time, square it. and also from P to Q. It shall be understood that we need to draw a line from P to Q as soon as the line is drawn up from Q. Draw a line from Q to the incline at the back depth, which makes point T. So we connect this point and this point we made earlier, and then we can call that point T now. And when this line is complete, measure the width of the back shoulder from K to L, here, and place the same from Q to U. Length of line, K to L. Okay, point U. Oops, I did that wrong, didn't I? Not from Q to T. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. And so this makes the front armhole, as you can clearly see. Draw a line from U to N. Now prepare the front neck. Measure from P to R, another 1/6 of size, or 3 inches, which is 1/12 of size. Let's call in that point R, but I'll just call it R1. We already have an R. And allow a 1/2 inch over here for the seam. So just another 1/2 inch, 0.5, R2. And then we go up 1/2 inch for S, for the high neck in the front. 1/2 inch from our seam line. To measure the bust from T to V, allow 1/2 of the bust measurement. So T over here, we'll do our I think I called it high bust, didn't I? 39 inches, yeah, that's the bust. Okay, so divided by 2. And that is V. And from V to W, allow 3 inches for seams. And we're calling that W1. These points here are, again, just the arbitrary ends of my guidelines. I probably shouldn't have given them letters. Draw a square line down from W to X and Y. So we'll square that down, holding Shift to make it square, ending that somewhere down there, and then joining here along these two to make this point here, which is X. Oh, we already have an X. X1. There we go. Okay. When this line is complete, finish the entire front edge by drawing a straight line from S against W down to C. Down to Z, I mean. From S against W down to Z. I wish there was a tool in Valentina where I could pin a line to a point and continue it down. I don't know that there is one. I wonder if I could I use the perpendicular point? Well, no, I don't want it to be perpendicular, do I? That's not gonna work, is it? No, not really at all. Oh, it's here, isn't it? Well, I guess kind of. And then we can join those two. But it does need to continue on past that W1. And another one from here to A2. Does that work? Ish? It needs to continue on further though. Let's try. The reason I want it to be tied to the points is so that when I grade it into different sizes, it'll kind of keep the proportions a bit better. I'm not entirely sure if this method will work, but we can see here soon once we finish drafting the first garment from this block. We'll see. And some arbitrary point down here we call Z. When being this far advanced with the foundation, it shall be understood that we are ready with this foundation, which will be completed in the next lesson for use. The important thing to remember about this foundation is we did build our seams into it. So when we go into our detail mode and add seam allowances, we will click the button for seams are included. So let's not forget that. That concludes the second lesson, which does conclude the foundation garment. This is the block that pretty much every top in this book is built off of. So go ahead and save this as a separate piece because you don't want to have to remake it every time. We should be able to load up our separate measurements here, and it should scale it proportionally, which it's hard to really tell. It looks alright, but we'll find out once we make the corset cover, which is the next lesson. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Be sure to subscribe so that you can see when I upload the next video for the corset cover, and check out my other pattern drafting videos as well. Cool, thanks!